Hey guys, how you going? Hopefully a little bit better, sounding and looking better than Dashi. I know what you're thinking. Christmas was, like 3 weeks ago? You don't have to keep eating, mate. But obviously this is not just the Christmas effect. I'm not trying to look like a cross between Paul Giamatti and Boss Nass. But somehow it's happened.
The attempt on my life has left me scarred and deformed.
I've had double jaw surgery recently, explained some face and the bands in my mouth and the bruising and swelling and all that. It'll come back to normal. Couple of weeks. Obviously, I didn't anticipate getting on camera. I'm not too fussed about it. I'm more apologetic. You have to listen to me push through because my mouth is mostly numb and the bands. But with what's happened with Star Wars is pretty monumental and affects all fans. And I want to give my thoughts on Star Wars with Kathleen Kennedy stepping down.
Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Then, obviously, Star Wars as a whole, where I think the future is, and what I think the fans can do or look forward to regardless. So, this is like a video I hope is a time capsule, because I'm working on a lot of things, and I'd like to share them with you, and hopefully you are interested. So first off, Kathleen Kennedy stepping down, and Dave Filoni, and he's doing it as a duo with, and this lady I haven't seen before, Lin Brennan. I get that there's this James Gunn kind of thing going on over at DC where they get the creative guy going and then they get the money men coupled so that the shareholders feel safe. But for me personally, let's get it out of the way. Kathleen Kennedy single-handedly has destroyed and crippled most of the goodwill in Star Wars in the last 2012 she got in, 14 years? It feels like 10. It's distressing what Disney has done with Star Wars, and personally I've always wanted them to sell it. There have been glimmers of Star Wars, but it's not like they created anything so new and revolutionary that hasn't been tarnished. Like The Mandalorian comes out. I was so hopeful for The Mandalorian. The first episode I thought, I like his gritty kind of Clint Eastwood bounty hunter, no nonsense, stoic. And then, like when the first of his bounties gets in his cargo hold and he thinks he's going to do a number on the Mando, and then he turns out to get carbonite frozen, like the Mando set a trap. He was that smart. To now a buddy cop movie where Embo, for some godforsaken reason, is one of the bosses in it. And that brings me to Dave Filoni taking over. Dave Filoni has done some great things in the Clone Wars and Rebels and Mando. There's glimmers of greatness that have been mired with mediocrity. And I feel perhaps it was stifled post-Clone Wars. Perhaps this is the money man. Perhaps this is the friction behind the scenes. But for me, as an EU fan, I still feel like perhaps if Filoni went back to basics and they got rid of all the noise, the money, the social political noise that happens all the time, the way George could tell a story with heart, and not be bogged down by current day politics and events, which, he didn't have social media to really, can you imagine poor George getting blindsided? But going back to what Star Wars heart is, and his companion, I literally have to look up and look at her name every time I say it. It is absolutely destroying me. Lin Brennan. If they can do that and they can create more of an EU situation, which was, for me, the golden age of Star Wars, especially with games, was really simple. The VP of LucasArts at the time, from 1998 to 2005, basically just licensed Star Wars to the most competent developers and they got gold back. I'm listening to audiobooks right now that have brought me back to the love of the EU. I'm listening to Heir to the Empire. I didn't love it the first time. Coming back, I'm absolutely frothing it. This brings me to the future. So obviously I think Filoni has some talent. I think he's too self-referential with his own universe. He doesn't create much new. He seems to love to retread Ahsoka and his own characters and cross-reference and then put cameos in when he needs a boost. Kathleen Kennedy gone is a net positive, and I don't mean any disrespect there. I wish her all the best. sure she did what she thought was best, but she didn't understand Star Wars fundamentally, by my estimation. Everything I'm saying is my perspective. It's not a truism. I'm not trying to be overly positive or negative. These are just my feelings as they come to me. And so Kathleen Kennedy, I think she's done a lot of damage. It doesn't even need to be said. You look at the numbers, you look at the ratings of things like The Acolyte, the quality of shows going downhill. You can feel the desperation of like sell toys of Grogu. And with all that gone, Filoni needs to be more a creative visionary in the sense that remember what George said Star Wars was and give the tools to the best people to make that. And that brings us to the second part of the conversation. This Lin-Manuel Brennan, Kathleen Kennedy was a producer and she produced on a lot of great films in the 80s like Goonies, E.T., Jurassic Park, I believe. Can't take that away from her. But a producer gets things made. Lin-Manuel Brennan needs to not cancel the movies. We've had a godforsaken amount of like Rogue Squadrons and how many movies, like there's trilogies that have been promised from Rey to God knows what. And I just feel like Kathleen Kennedy was hovering too much. They need to commit. Say, this is the vision. These are the resources. There was no such thing as Star Wars fatigue. I remember, when Solo came out, Kathleen Kennedy said people are having Star Wars fatigue. And I thought that's poppycock, pure poppycock. I nearly said pure berserk, but I think that means that's good. I don't believe that. I will watch and consume as much Star Wars as humanly possible, like a greedy, gluttonous hut that I look like. You know, I love it. I can't get enough of it. And then there was the argument that Alden Ehrenreich, who played young Han, nobody wanted to see Harrison Ford replaced. And I thought, well, that's pure BS too, because nobody commented about Ewan McGregor taking over Sir Alec Guinness's role as Obi-Wan. There was the script issues, the story issues, the Miller and Lord, the guys, the original directors that they swapped out for Ron Howard. Just mess. All I'm talking about is this convoluted mess instead of just focus. So I have some modicum of hope, despite Disney not selling the brand. God forbid they gave it to a Netflix or anybody else. I don't have much trust in the industry, but if Filoni and Brennan can really keep laser focused and give the tools to the right talent and keep them just within the confines of this is a Star Wars, keep all the noise out, everything will be fine, because Star Wars is storytelling and there's so much heart to it and it's a universe unto itself. I keep arguing that Star Wars is for everyone. Star Wars originally, obviously, George said, was made for 12-year-old boys and girls, but the EU, my favorite novels, audiobooks called Red Harvest and Death Troopers. I'm not a horror guy in real life, but I love Red Harvest so much. I listen to it every year, and that is R18 horror. So I think there's so many variations. If you treat it like its own universe in ours, they could do, I think, a much better job with branding as well, which I feel like fans are really disillusioned with, because, you know, I'm a dude who doesn't care about Forces of Destiny. I don't care about, was it Vision? I really like actually the Japanese animation, but you can tell that they're pandering to some audiences, but they refuse to say who. And I would rather that Disney moving forward said, hey, Star Wars is for everyone. We're going to make a movie for the bros, the hardcores, the gals, you know, we'll make 50 Shades of Star Wars, you know, like we'll do all of that. And we're going to create categories just so you know, hey, this new expanded universe, like, the core movies are more George's vision. Let's make a new EU kind of thing so that you know that these are a little outside of the norm. Let the audience know that the audience isn't dumb, but they also are being treated as such by Disney, if that makes sense. Like, we know that you're trying to target new people to sell them toys, and the PR has been disgusting about how they treat fans. And I think if you treat fans like civilized, welcome customers who have a great say and vote with their money and deserve to see the Star Wars they all want to see, whether or not that can be made fiscally is another thing, I think it'll be great. And so that brings us to, all right, Filoni and Brennan need to really hit the mark and produce things and show people that slate of movies, not like Kathleen standing in front of 27 movies that are never going to be made. But which is comedic now. Just have a great vision and a plan and execute. Which brings us to what happens if they inevitably fumble. I've lost all hope. I gotta say two things. One, the EU, the books, the games, the content, there's so much out there to explore, and I'm doing it right now. Right now on Dark Lord Dash, my other channel, RPG Games, I'm making KOTOR videos on the Jedi Haradan, the Assassins in KOTOR 1. I'm having a ball. On this channel, Dash Star Behind the Scenes, I'm trying to learn more AI tools and storytelling tools to show off different books that I love and convert them into movies in a cinematic way, and really focus on what I care about, which is storytelling and the acting side. I want to give it soul. Whether or not I succeed, I don't know. I'm just going to have a crack at doing something positive for the community, because I'm so sick of screaming at the wall I don't like things or I want things to change, and I have finally said, okay, let's do it. I'm doing it too slow, but 2026 we're going to get much faster. So I hope that you stay along for the ride, and I appreciate you, every single one of you. I appreciate hearing from you, whether you agree with me, disagree with me. We are all Star Wars fans at the end of the day, and in this together. The final note I want to leave you on is that the fan universe is growing. Now, I'm not a huge fan of AI at the moment, but I believe that they're just tools for storytelling, and there's creativity coming out the wazoo. If Disney doesn't do it, I do believe the next 10 years the fans will. The Star Wars FU or fan universe will grow so much. Disney's already looking at monetizing Sora, so that they're basically making you pay them. So they're getting in the licensing business of, oh, well, if we can't make good stories ourselves, then we'll just make people pay us to use the likeness of, Darth Vader and the voice, and they can do it for us, and we'll get the money anyway. Cool. So it's a win-win-win-win. I just need more Star Wars games, to be honest. Like, I need 400 yesterday. And I even started a game development course, but I'm only one man, and I wish I had more resources. But again, these may be excuses. I'm really rolling up my sleeves this year to tell the stories of KOTOR 1 and 2 and SWTOR on the Dark Lord Dash channel, work on Star Wars novels, telling them in the best way that I can, making sure storytelling comes first on Dash Star right here. If you want me to do more discussions, I'm open to it, but I really wanted to focus, and again, working on game development, but I wanted to just focus on creating new stuff instead of asking for it, because that's where we're at. Or, I love being on Rule of 3 with Star Wars Theory and Angry Badger, where we we talk about what we like and we don't like every Thursday, 5 p.m. on Star Wars Theory's channel. But there's only so much that you can kind of discuss things without, you get into your pit of your stomach. You want change, you might have to make change. So that's where I'm at now. I'm very hopeful. I'm more in love with Star Wars than ever by retreading the old EU and playing like KOTOR obviously and SWTOR. Also just like get the games, the audio books when I go walking or I ride a mower, of all things. You get a good audio book and some headphones. Magnifique. And so I hope you do too, delve into it with me. I want this to be a positive place, but also a real place as well. The world seems to be commercialized. The truth seems to be stifled, and you are made the enemy by so many. And honestly, it's been hard for me, because when I first spoke out about Star Wars, just on a personal note, I felt very attacked. I'd never been attacked. We all loved it. And then The Last Jedi came out, and the friction, it just made no sense to me. Just the hate. Like, I don't care if you like or dislike what I like or dislike. It doesn't change. I love Red Harvest. I get it's not most people's cup of tea. If you love The Last Jedi, God bless. A guy just tweeted me and said I loved Alden Ehrenreich in Solo. And I was like, I'm jealous of you. I want to like all Star Wars. Oh, excuse me. And so I'm just making what I can to be positive in the community. Obviously being honest, but giving a balanced take and saying, hey, like, there's hope. I don't know why. I just have this feeling of hope in the future. Now, I hope that you are full of hope too. And I need to get off camera because my nose, it may feel like it's going to drip or bleed soon. But that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know how you feel. And there is so much content coming on Dark Lord Dash and Dash Star, and also Star Wars. Things are looking up. So please consider, again, I know I'm a subscriber begging, but I want to just kind of interact with you. I love the community, because if you love Star Wars, I genuinely want to talk to you about it. It's as simple as that, and may the force be with you in 2026. All the best in you and yours, my friends.